All right. Hopefully you guys can see me just fine. Let me mute the sound out just a little bit and see who has joined us. All right. Looks like the Zoom app is improved because last time I used it, the integration app was kind of hard to see all the people that joined me. So anyway, good to see you guys. Let's see if my signal is coming through strong. Just bear with me here for a second. All right, I want to say hello to a few people that have already joined us, and then I'll jump in and share with you what I have tonight. But great to see you, Hector. Hector says he needs a one-on-one with me. Hector, if you'll just contact Audrey, she'll set you up. And it's Audrey at DebbieSardone.com, and it's spelled Audrey, Audrey at DebbieSardone.com, and she'll connect you with my appointment calendar. All right. Hi, Lizzie. Good to see you from Missouri. Mary, great to see you. Oh, thank you, Mary. She says I look beautiful. I'm wearing a new color today. I don't usually wear this color. It's totally outside of my palette. Thank you. Leslie, great to see you. Who else? Let's see here. Anybody else jump in that I've missed? I think Joanne is on. Denise. Robert, great to see you guys. So a couple of announcements before I forget. If you have not registered for the Speed Cleaning for the Pros Conference, June 29th and 30th, I know it feels like it's forever away, but this is May. June will be here before you know it. So my events usually fill up that last few weeks. So if you wait too late, you might, number one, miss out on the very cheap hotel deal. They only guarantee the room rate of $106 a night at the Marriott through June 7th. After that, it's just depending on how booked they are. And if they get kind of booked, then they will charge you full rate if you can even get in. $106 a night at the Marriott Hotel right there at the airport. So you don't even have to rent a car. But we can only fit 100 people at my Speed Cleaning for the Pros conferences. And they usually fill up before the event. And I always get emails of desperate people at the last minute, that very last week or two, saying, Debbie, is it too late? Can I get in? Can I get in? And they can't squeeze more people in because then somebody won't have a chair to sit in. So we have room for about 100, and it is filling up quickly. If you want to attend Speed Cleaning for the Pros, trust me, if you have not been to that event and you have a business cleaning houses, you've got to come. You will not regret it. It will be worth every penny, worth the airfare, the hotel, the time away from work, and the registration. Let me share with you a little bit of what I have sitting over here. Didn't think to grab this beforehand. But everyone will get a Speed Cleaning DVD when you attend. And we have some incredible, exciting announcements that I'm not going to tell you about right now, but trust me, you're going to be happy. And everyone will get the Speed Cleaning workbooks. We have the owner's training manual and we have the training supervisor's manual. And day one of Speed Cleaning of the conference, which is a Friday, is owner's training. I'm going to teach you how to implement properly a training program and help you understand that training has to be systemized. If it isn't, then it's hit or miss. It's unpredictable, or the only way it's done right is when the owner jumps out in the field when she's hired or he has hired and does the training themselves. So I'm going to teach you how to systemize your training program, how to raise the quality and the consistency of your cleaning. A lot of people think, well, speed cleaning is just about training on how to clean fast. Well, that's grossly a misunderstanding of what speed cleaning is about. Speed cleaning is about improving production rates while raising the quality of the staff's cleaning and the consistency. So customers care as much about consistency as they do quality. They get very frustrated when things are up and down with the quality, or good one time and excellent the next time, and good one time and perfect the next time, and so and back and forth. So consistency is a serious problem. And I will teach you a systematic approach to standardizing your cleans, improving quality, and improving consistency while raising your production rates, which basically puts more dollars in your bank. If you can improve your production rates, you can lower your employee payroll costs and raise your margins, your profits. Joanne says, your training changed my life. Awesome. Thank you, Joanne, for saying that. Joanne says it changed her life. And it really is a life-changing event. For people who have never been to my Speed Cleaning for the Pros conference, people that have attended have said, I'm so glad I came. This is nothing like I expected. Because we're not there to talk about cleaning, not too much. I mean, we do talk a little bit about cleaning, but making money in the residential cleaning industry has less to do about cleaning than most people think. It's about systemizing. It's about standardization. It's about creating a quality standard that can be duplicated from staff to staff to staff, and then promises that can be delivered so that you're not continually disappointing customers and creating one-time cleans because it just didn't impress on the first visit. And so Speed Cleaning for the Pros, owner's training is all day Friday. Field supervisor training is all day Saturday. Owners should come for both days. It's both days for the owner. Saturday is for the field supervisor. Proprietary insider business trade secrets are shared on Friday. So you want your supervisors who clean in the field, who will do the training, to come on Saturday. They can just hang out. If you're traveling, they can just hang out at the hotel, which they would love, watch movies, sleep in, whatever, on Friday. And then they join us Saturday morning. It's really a powerful event for employees. When business owners have brought their employees, and I have lots of business owners that come with 2, 3, even 4 employees with them, it is life-changing for the employees. It's a game changer. It helps the employee who you hope to go back and help you implement this program in your company. It helps that employee get immediate buy-in, because without buy-in, many times your most seasoned staff members will give you the hardest time about implementing change. So it helps the employee understand the importance of the changes and how it will benefit each one of them, the employees, the customers, everyone, all the stakeholders. It helps them get excited about helping you succeed at launching your training program when you go back home. And it will help them understand how to train properly and how to teach others how to train properly. So Speed Cleaning for the Pros, June 29th and 30th. You can register. Somebody can type this in for me, www.debbiesardone.com/events. debbiesardone.com/events. That's how you register. Don't get locked out. The last few weeks, I will turn away people who are wanting to come. And especially if you want to bring your employees, that's 3 seats I may not have if you wait to the last minute. And of course, airfare is always the cheapest if you give yourself a 21 days advance notice of buying your airplane ticket. If you're traveling, a lot of people, and it's in Atlanta. I didn't mention that. The Speed Cleaning for the Pros conference is not in Dallas this time. It's in Atlanta, Georgia. So we're right there by the airport. And you'll leave with so much information, you'll go back and make more or save more money than you spent on attending. If you're a Speed Cleaning alumni, if you have attended the Speed Cleaning for the Pros conference within the last couple of years, if you're an alumni of a Speed Cleaning for the Pros conference, you and anyone you want to bring from your company, of course, they have to be from your company, your business partner, your spouse, or your field employees, your office manager, whatever, you and employees of your company can attend as alumni for $199 each. So $199 each. If you came 2 years ago, I guarantee you need a refresher course. If you sent your office manager last time and you didn't come, you should come and bring your field supervisor. It's really a good refresher course. I've had people come multiple times and say they learned something new at each event, and they gained a greater level of understanding and how to implement after coming back 1 to 2 times. So promise you won't be bored. All right, speed cleaning for the pros. You can register at debbiesardone.com/events. So let's talk about my topic for tonight. Let me see if there's a couple more people I need to say hello to. I don't know if any more have joined. Susie, I don't think I said hello to you earlier. Hello. Thanks for joining me. And let's see if anybody joined me on the Zoom link, because that's an option. You can, if you're on my email list, you can join me on the Zoom link. And also, if you want to receive a text whenever I'm going live, then you can text the keyword Debbie Live, which needs to be one word. Don't let your phone autocorrect and make it 2 words. Debbie Live, that's the keyword. That's where you type in the reply. And the number that you send, that you would type into the phone number field, is 41242. I typoed when I sent an email out about a week ago, but it's 41242. So you type 41242, and then down here, the keyword Debbie Live, one word, and hit send. And you'll be subscribed to my texting list. Whenever I go live, you'll know. You can click your phone and jump on. All right. So, hey, Ginger, I didn't see you sneak in. Good to see you. And Joanne says, training changed her life. I'm so grateful for your comments, Joanne. So let's talk about, since this is the month of May, I thought, you know what? I'm going to bring some lessons learned from my mom, because it's the month of May, and this will be my first Mother's Day without my mom. Not looking forward to that. But some of you know, especially if you've been in the Cleaning Business Fundamentals, if you've taken the Cleaning Business Fundamentals course, you've heard about my mom, because I actually reference her quite a few times throughout my course, throughout the training program. And so for some of you that are not familiar with her, she started a cleaning business when she turned 65. This was over 20 years ago, about 22 years ago. She called me on the phone. This was really before any of us were using the internet. We definitely weren't using the internet yet for business. I may have had email at that time, but I'm not even sure I did. But about 22 years ago, she said, I want to start a cleaning business. She was retiring from corporate America. My dad had died years before at really a young age, 52. And she was retiring, and she said, I want to start a maid service. Teach me everything you know. And technically, she was my very first coaching client, consulting client. And I didn't have the Cleaning Business Fundamentals program, but I had the formula, because I have had this formula for business that I have been following for 25 plus years. And I had hired a team of consultants from Chicago, Illinois, to fix my broken business 25 years ago. And this was the formula that we came up with together, but mostly through their advice. And I've been following it for 25 years. So even though I didn't have a consulting program or a training program at the time she called me, I did have a business formula that worked. And I told her, Mom, if you follow this to a T, you'll be successful. Now, there was a little fear in me, because again, this was 22 years ago. I wasn't a consultant. I didn't know how to teach people things. I knew my system worked, but I wasn't sure it would work for her, because she had never owned a business before. She had always been an employee. She had always been in corporate America. And neither of my parents were entrepreneurs, although my mother has always thought like an entrepreneur. But she started her cleaning business just basically taking my step-by-step formula and following it. And I remember 22 years ago, we would just have phone calls on Saturday when the long distance charges were lower. That was back when none of us had cell phones. You used your landline in your house, and you paid for long distance calls. And so I would coach her over the phone on Saturdays, when the long distance rate, by that time, they might have even been free on Saturdays. If not, they were heavily discounted. And I would coach her on what to do, what not to do, what to do next. She came up with her own logo and her own business name and taglines, and she was very creative. So she did a lot of free spirit things. And a few things I'm like, Mom, don't do that. Don't do that. But she's her own woman, kind of stubborn like me. And she launched her cleaning business. And within a few short years, probably within 2, maybe 3 at the most, she had 14 employees, her own office, and an office manager running things. So she was very successful, and she only passed away in February. So she ran that business all the way until she was 87 years old, until she got sick with severe pneumonia and other complications and passed away on February 18th. She ran her cleaning business. So she became an entrepreneur overnight and was very, very successful. And I thought about, one of the reasons she was successful is she followed a proven formula. She didn't try to go and reinvent the wheel. She didn't say, oh, I'm going to figure this out on my own. She followed a proven formula, and she followed it for the most part, step by step, most of the things I recommended. Some things she just did on her own, but for the most part, she followed the things that I taught her. And so she had a very successful business at 87 years old. So anybody who says, gee, have I missed my window of time? Is it too late for me to succeed in business? I just scoff. Because if I can help a 65-year-old woman who's never owned her own business and who's never cleaned her own house, because the whole time growing up in our household, we always had a maid. That's what they were called back then. We always had somebody cleaning, because my mom was probably one of the few, if maybe the only mother on the block back when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s who worked. My mother was always a career mom, and we always had a housekeeper. And so my mom, who's never pushed a mop in her life, starts a cleaning business, never cleaned her first house. Not one time did she step foot into a house and scrub a toilet or a bathtub. But that brings me to my first lesson that I learned from my mom. She was an amazing delegator. And I think that's why she was so successful as an entrepreneur and never ended up in the field cleaning. Because there's a lot of cleaning business owners that have great aspirations for their business. They think, well, I'm going to start a cleaning company. I'm going to buy a vacuum and a mop and supplies, and I'll start, cleaning a few homes. But then in a few months, I'm going to get out of the field. I'm going to start building my business and hiring employees to take over. And most of the people I talk to struggle for years to get out of the field or to turn a profit once they do get out of the field. And so one of the things I learned from my mom a long time ago is how to be a good delegator. People who struggle with delegation, people who struggle with perfectionism, they have a very hard time delegating responsibilities. Why? Because they know if they do it themselves, it will be done better. In fact, if they do it themselves, it'll probably be done right, or it'll be done perfect. And so oftentimes people trip over their own perfectionism, and they hold themselves back in business. And this is in every business. So it doesn't have to be in the world of house cleaning, in the world of maid service. But until you learn how to delegate responsibilities and then back off, especially if you have the right people that you've delegated responsibilities to, and you've done adequate training to prepare them to take on those responsibilities, delegation is the one thing, the one skill that if you develop, you will have the ability to create freedom and quality of life even after your business grows to be a big business. So delegation, my mother was excellent. I kind of chuckled a few years ago. I think it was for her 80th birthday, trying to remember, or else it was my brother's 60th birthday. It might have been my brother's 60th birthday. We all had flown in, of course, because it was a big milestone birthday. I think it was my brother's. And my mother informed us that we were going to decorate these adorable little jars for all the tables. So it's kind of a Pinterest kind of a thing she found, and just some real cute jars with, I don't know, sand in them and candles and all kinds of stuff. And so she said, we're going to make these candle jars and all these decorations by hand at Terry's house, my brother's house. And I remember thinking, oh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. We're all going to make these jars together. Well, come to find out, my mom, the ultimate delegator, when she says we're going to make jars and we're going to decorate, what she actually means is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you how to make that decoration and how to fill that jar and how much sand to put in it and how many seashells to put in it and how many candles to put in it. My mother was the ultimate. And I just remember cracking up as here all of us little worker bees were sitting around the table, hours before the party, putting together our decorations that my mother was delegating. Okay, now here's what you need to do. You need to cut this and follow this pattern, and you need to hang it up there, and you need to fill these jars and wrap them with I don't know, raffia or whatever. And I have a picture of all of us working at the table, helping my mother with the decorations. And in the picture, my mom was just sitting there telling us all what to do. She was an amazing delegator. And of course, we had a blast. It was so fun. So you've got to be a good delegator. And it's very hard to be a good delegator if you're stuck in perfectionism. And perfectionism will kill your opportunity to grow your business. Let's see here, a couple of comments that came through on the Facebook here. And Maria says, I was 61 when I started my business, and I am now taking the CBF course to fix the things that I did wrong. Thank you, Maria, for saying that. Isn't that great? It doesn't really matter how old you are. It is never too late to get it right. I had another lady, this was years ago, ask me, and she had turned 60. I think she was right around 61. And she said, we were talking on the phone, and I was telling her, you need to take the Cleaning Business Fundamentals course. Flat out, you've got to take it. And I'll just show you a sample. I mean, it's a 650-page manual, but don't worry, you don't have to read it. It's all video training. And so you actually get told step by step exactly what to do, how to get out of the field permanently, how to grow higher profit margins so you can raise the pay of your employees, how to find better employees, and how to keep amazing employees long-term. So I have an entire program. And I was talking to this wonderful lady who was very discouraged. And she said, Debbie, I never intended to clean houses for, I think she said 20 years. And she said, I'm so disappointed and so ashamed of where my business is because I shouldn't still be cleaning. And she said, I cannot get out of the field. It's 1 foot forward, 2 steps back, 2 feet forward, 2 steps back. And she said, about the time I get a good person hired and trained, they're giving notice. And she said, it's just been chaos and disappointment. And she said, I'm 60 or 61. And she said, have I missed my window of opportunity? Did I blow it? Did I find your Cleaning Business Fundamentals course too late? And I said, absolutely not. And I said, my mom's got you beat by 5 years or 4 years. So it's never too late to do it right. Maria, thank you so much for sharing that. And so be a good delegator. And that's one lesson I definitely learned by observing my mother my whole life. There are instances throughout my entire life where my mother delegated responsibilities. She delegated the laundry to me. She was a working mother. And my sister always had to do the dishes. I did the laundry. And to this day, I don't know what my brother did. Number 2, I'm going to share 3 things this time. This is just part 1, and I hope to do 3 or 4 more during the month of May, during the time of May when we celebrate Mother's Day. Number 2, be generous. Don't be stingy. Give, give, give. That is a trait I learned from both my mom and my dad. They were givers, and they didn't boast about giving. They helped people that I didn't know until older. They helped struggling families that I didn't know about. Obviously, my mom was one of the working moms on the block, so we always seemed to have more disposable income than probably a lot of her peers. And they were incredibly generous. I remember times in early days of my marriage when I had little kids and, we had little tiny paychecks and them just giving to us generously and me breaking down in tears saying, thank you. I can't believe you're doing this. Just so much generosity. And that spirit of generosity, instead of the spirit of stinginess, carried over into her business, and her employees loved her. Her employees loved her. And oh my goodness, they cried when they found out she passed away in February. They cried. And I'm pretty sure all of them came to her funeral. Generous people are loved by others, and a generous employer will be loved by their employees. I don't mean wasteful. I don't mean careless. That doesn't mean you give away money you don't have. But when you create a business that is so profitable that you can be generous without hurting your own family's income to your employees, then you will experience the joy of being generous and giving. My mother, when I launched my nonprofit, of course, she was in business by that time, over 10 years. When I launched my nonprofit, my mother was one of the first cleaning partners to join. She was one of the first to join. Why? Number one, her daughter started this nonprofit. She was going to be a part of it. But number two, my mother's eyes lit up when she realized she could use her maid service to clean for women with cancer. My mother had beat ovarian cancer, and that was a really dark time in our lives when she lost her hair and went through radiation and just assumed she wasn't going to make it because that was later in life. And she beat ovarian cancer. So she had, and then of course my father lost his battle with cancer at age 52. And so she had a real tender heart for women battling cancer. And she was so generous, and she didn't have a large company. I mean, she had 14 employees, so it was a good size, but it wasn't a giant, really considered a really big company. But she never turned down a cancer patient. She couldn't say no. So every time a cancer patient applied, even though she was full, she would take them on. And the people at the Cleaning for a Reason office would get in the habit of calling her and saying, "Hey, Gladys, we have another cancer patient. Do you think you could take on one more?" And she would always say, "Yes, of course." Generosity equals reciprocity. In other words, what goes around comes around. If you're stingy in life, life will be stingy back. If you're generous and you're a giver, life will give back in one way or another. Entrepreneurialism reaps the benefits of generosity. If you're stingy, if you have a stingy mindset, well, if they get it, that means I will get less. That's a stingy mindset versus, you know what, there's enough for all of us to go around. There's enough for everybody. So she was an incredibly generous person, and my father was incredibly generous. And then lesson number 3, respect everyone. Respect everyone. I remember growing up in the 60s and the 70s, my dad used to say a phrase that when I was little, I didn't even understand it. But he used to say this over and over again. And my dad would say, "You don't have to like everyone, but you do have to love everyone." And I thought, well, that's kind of backwards, isn't it? I used to think, well, maybe you don't have to, you have to like everybody, but you don't have to love them. But my dad always said, and he told me this throughout my entire life, you don't have to like everyone, but you do have to love everyone. And as I got older, I understood what he was saying is we have to love people. We have to love people. Now, sometimes we don't like them. And he said, for example, when I would get in a fight with my brother or my sister, it's like, you don't have to like them, but you do have to love them. And it's true. I might not like you today, but I love you. And that's how I feel about our cleaning business fundamentals, although I like them all as well, is if you respect everyone, and respect starts with loving people. If you respect everyone, then you won't treat them badly, even if they deserve it. There's too many people in this world that treat others well only if they deserve it. They'll be nice to people only if they're nice to them. The difference in that concept is if you get mistreated by a waitress at a restaurant and you mistreat her back as punishment, okay, maybe she deserved it. She was rude, she was arrogant, whatever. Maybe she deserved it, but I have a philosophy that if you respect everyone, then you treat everyone the way they should be treated, not the way they deserve to be treated. So some people don't deserve to be treated well because they'll walk all over you. They might steal from your customers. They might actually steal your customers. Can you still respect everyone? That doesn't mean you become a doormat and say, okay, I love and respect everyone, walk all over me. I have never been the kind of business owner that allows people to walk on me, except in the early days of my business when it was broken and I had bad employees and I couldn't fire them because I didn't have anybody to replace them. At that time, I didn't like being walked on, but at the time, I didn't feel like I had a choice. But we've had employees leave our business in every different fashion. Some just quit without notice, stormed out the door and was mad, but we still treated them with respect and dignity when they came back for their paycheck. We didn't chew them out. We didn't look down on them. We didn't, fuss at them or chastise them. I've had employees I've had to fire, and I've hugged them. I've prayed with them. We've cried together. I've shared with them, I hate that I have to let you go, but blah, 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 blah. So having respect and loving people doesn't equate to being a doormat, because I have fired people and given them hugs and prayed with them as I'm firing them. The difference is somebody who did you wrong, you just trash them. You just trash them and you berate them out the door and you call them names and you put them down because you can. That is not respecting everyone. And I never saw that in my mom. I never saw that. And she had bad employees that walked on her. She had to fire because they thought they could trample all over her. That wasn't going to happen with my mama. She had bad employees over the years, 22 years in business, that she had to fire because they stole from her. But my mother made them feel bad because they disappointed her. Here's this older woman they disappointed, but she didn't berate them or belittle them or try to demean them because she respected everyone. So respect everyone. And when you have that policy of treating everyone with respect, whether they've earned it or not, whether they deserve it or not, I promise you, the benefits of that personal policy will come back tenfold. And that means, and I'm ashamed to say, years ago in my younger years, if a waitress was snarky or rude or didn't think I was going to be a good customer, I would be rude back. This was a long time ago. Now, years later, as I kind of grew up in my emotional maturity, I realized, you know what? You could be misinterpreting them as being snarky when maybe they're just quiet, or maybe it's their first day and they're uncomfortable. They could be having a horrible day and you don't know why. And I decided a long time ago, I'm not going to treat waitresses or anybody by the way I think they deserve to be treated. I'm going to treat them the way they should be treated, period. The way I want to be treated, the way we all want to be treated. So respect everyone. Be generous and be a good delegator. And those are some of the best lessons I've learned from my mom. Now, I have more that I've written down, so I'll share with you guys later. I would love your feedback if you'd like to post in the comments a little bit about some of the lessons that you've learned from your mom or your dad. Somebody very important in your life, even if it wasn't your mom or your dad, but somebody very important in your life. Share that. What lesson did you learn that has helped you in business? Because all of these life lessons and character lessons and integrity lessons are what help entrepreneurs to succeed in business. So I'd love to hear from you. Just post in your comments. I'm going to read a few comments. Crystal says, preach it. And Mary says, agape. I think that's, which kind of love is that? Is that godly love? I believe that is, but I could be wrong. I'm not too up on my Hebrew. Miranda says, I agree. I give a lot and people say I'm crazy, but I never miss the dollars and always get way more back than you give. That is so true, Miranda. It's the giver's gain, which is the author of the book. Maybe that's the title of the book. The man that started BNI years ago, Business Network International, the giver's gain. And of course, it's also a biblical concept, give and you shall receive. So it all works. Generosity, reciprocity, it all goes hand in hand. So anyway, Month of May, I'll share lessons learned that have helped me in my business that I learned from my mom during the entire month of May. Hope you guys enjoy. And if you're listening on the replay, go register for Speed Cleaning for the Pros. For those of you that are curious about how to learn more about cleaning business fundamentals and to see if you qualify, I don't just put a link on my website and let anybody register, because you do have to qualify to be in this program. If you think you are ready to get out of the field and you are financially and mentally ready to commit to your own personal training and development to take your business to the next level, you can learn more about Cleaning for a Reason. Cleaning for a Reason. I have my nonprofit on the brain. You can learn more about cleaning business fundamentals, the course that I created for cleaning business owners, at cleaningbusinessfundamentals.com. It's that simple, cleaningbusinessfundamentals.com. And I'll be happy to talk with you about the course and see if we're a good fit for each other. All right. So Mary says, what other people think of me isn't my business, but it is my business how I treat them, from her dad. Isn't that fabulous? That is what an absolute life lesson right there in a nutshell. What other people think of me isn't my business, but it is my business how I treat them. We can't control other people, but we can control ourselves. Excellent, Mary. Thanks for sharing that. Debbie Shreenan says, my dad taught me to never give up. Debbie, that is awesome. That's a fantastic trait. Never give up. Now, another thing you learned is, and if it ain't working, do something different. And so Debbie is, of course, a very successful business owner, and she is a part of the Cleaning Business Fundamentals community. So don't give up, just change course. Don't do the same thing over and over again year after year if it's not working, but you also don't have to give up. A lot of people give up 3 feet from gold. So don't give up, just find the roadmap if you don't have one and everything you're doing isn't reaping the success that you thought you should have by now. The financial wealth, the quality of life, and the personal freedom. Those are the reasons why people start a business, so that they can do the things they want with their family. They can send their kids to private school or to the college they hope, or to give their daughter a great wedding, or to buy a bigger house, or to drive a nicer car. All of those things are why we work hard. And if you're just spinning your wheels and going nowhere, then don't just give up, just change course, invest in your training and learn how to do it to your satisfaction. Crystal says employees are family, whether or not they work out. They're the ones that help put bacon on the tables. Crystal, well said. The employees put the bacon on the table. Mistreat your employees, it's like you're mistreating your bank account, which a lot of people do. So don't take them for granted. Don't resent them. They are why you are in business. They're not in business because you have customers. Your employees are why you're in business, because unless you want to be the cleaner forever, without your employees, you don't have a business. Treat them like gold. Treat them like you cherish them. And don't think you can fake it, because they'll see right through it. When you're genuinely caring and respectful of your employees and you're generous with them, the benefits you will reap are immeasurable. It's priceless. All right, guys, great feedback. Thank you so much for sharing your feedback. I hope this was helpful to you today. Cleaningbusinessfundamentals.com. If you feel like you're ready to take your business to the next level, you get an appointment with me. Don't waste your appointment if you're not ready yet, and save it for another time. And Speed Cleaning for the Pros, you can register at debbiesardone.com/events. Hope you guys have a great night. And I'll talk to you next week about part 2 of lessons I learned from my mom, who owned a successful maid service. Take care. Thanks for joining me.